They say, for good to be good, evil must be evil. Remember one thing. Without Goliath, Dave was just some punk kid throwing stones. Maybe you might say I missed with Doug. Remember one thing, Jody. As sure as eggs are eggs. I won't miss with you.
You're a wrestler, do you? Let's see what you got in the ring tonight.
Welcome to Frontier Wrestling, or should I say, when horseplay turns to violence, because that's what we saw earlier today, when Jack Xavier and his companion Cammy were fooling around in the corridors of the arena here tonight, and they bumped into Mr. Blonde arriving for work. This has set up an impromptu match between Blonde and Xavier, where Blonde intends to put Xavier through the ringer. Jack Xavier, let's not forget, is a smaller wrestler than Mr. Blonde. Mr. Blonde is one of the biggest heavyweights we've got in the FWA, but he's out to teach Jack Xavier a lesson. And here comes Jack. With him, as ever, is Cammy. They hooked up a couple of weeks ago when Jack Xavier beat James Tye on this very TV show. They've become inseparable as a couple, but won't confirm as to whether they are dating. We'll try and get you the hot scoop on that as soon as we can. Jack's got his work cut out for him tonight, taking on Alex Shane's hand-picked head of security, Mr. Blonde. Loyal to Alex Shane he may be, but since Alex Shane turned to the light side and came over to the FWA, Mr. Blonde has retained that sinister edge that served him so well as Alex Shane's bodyguard. Hopefully we won't see too much of that tonight, and Jack Xavier will leave the ring intact. The bell rings for what could be the harshest 5 minutes of Jack Xavier's life. He entrusts his glasses and his shirt with Cammy. There she is, looking beautiful on the outside. Will Jack Xavier look so beautiful after going 5 minutes with Mr. Blonde? A knee to the centre of Jack Xavier's body, forearms to the back, and a headbutt to the skull. It's Mr. Blonde on top early. He's setting out his stall, telling referee Popeye Jackson to ask Jack Xavier. But Jack Xavier, small as he may be, is made of stern stuff. He's our funky, chunky hero, and he'll give as good as he gets today. Couple of rising clotheslines and another sends Mr. Blonde down to the mat. Blonde bailing out, trying to earn himself a breather as Jack Xavier gets the applause of the crowd. Mr. Blonde certainly wasn't expecting this. Xavier not waiting for Blonde to come back in. He's going to suplex him back into the ring. Mr. Blonde landing hard. Xavier makes the cover. Only a 2 count. Mr. Blonde seems to be taking a rest there, trying to earn some respite for his back. But Xavier back onto it with a body slam, and now going to the top rope. Well scouted by Mr. Blonde as Jack comes down hard with a senton attempt that missed by a mile. It's Blonde up on his feet and laughing now as Xavier is feeling the effects of that one hard. A jaw jacker brought down hard on the head of Mr. Blonde was Jack Xavier's jaw. He usually does that for shouting, for singing, for talking. All it's doing now is hurting. Huge chops in the corner from Mr. Blonde. Of course, we'll see Blonde's employer, Alex Shane, on this show next week, taking on Drew McDonald. It'll be new school versus old school, as will our TV main event tonight, when we see Jody Fleisch fight Dino Scarlo. There's honour at stake as Jody not only tries to pay back Dino for what he did to him a couple of weeks ago at the end of a tag match against the New Breed, but also for what Dino did to Nikita here last week on Frontier Wrestling as we introduced a women's division. What a short introduction it was as Dino Scarlo took a chair to the head of our first signing, Nikita. Jody Fleisch said, "That's enough, Dino Scarlo. I'm coming and I'm going to make you pay." We'll see that right after this match, but let's get back to this match as Flash Barker puts the headbutts into Jack Xavier. Barker is really on top now. It almost seems as if he's playing with Xavier, but no! Xavier out of the corner with a hard elbow, and now he's going for a tornado DDT, taking Barker down, ramming his head into the mat. A 2 count only from Popeye Jackson. Jack Xavier needs to find more in his locker if he's to put Flash Barker, Mr. Blonde, away. Shoulder block, but he holds onto the ropes. Barker was waiting for him. Jack Xavier bought himself a couple of extra seconds and hit Mr. Blonde, Flash Barker, with a heavy forearm in the face, but it's Blonde who's up and throws Jack Xavier to the outside. Who's on the outside? The security team, and there they are, putting the boots to Jack Xavier, much to the dislike of the crowd. Cammy trying to stop them, but the security team are just too big for a young lady like Cammy. They rolled Jack Xavier into the ring, much the worse for wear than he was when he was thrown outside.
One over there!
Weak spine buster takes Xavier down to the mat. Flash Barker pointing something out to Popeye Doyle, and oh, it was all a ruse. Popeye Jackson was taken in. Popeye Doyle's a character in a Gene Hackman movie, ladies and gentlemen, not an FWA referee. That's Popeye Jackson. He was taken in, as I was taken in. All it allowed Mr. Blonde to do was hit Jack Xavier with a hard fist to the unmentionables. Blonde whipping Xavier out of the corner, going in with a huge avalanche splash. All that weight coming down on top of your body can never be easy, but when it's on the end of a 10-yard run, it's all the worst. He's going for another, but Xavier's too quick for him. And the step enziguri, the step off the knee, the kick to the back of the head. It's Jack Xavier's patented move, and it takes Flash Barker, Mr. Blonde down. And there's Cammy, the Cammy crunch, the slide across the ring, the feet into the, I called them unmentionables earlier, I better not mention them again. And now Jack Xavier with a butt bump, taking Mr. Blonde down, covering Jack. Only a 2 count again. Popeye Jackson signalling that it's not quite the 3 needed to end this match. Jack Xavier, come on Jack, I'm rooting for you. I know Mr. Blonde is on the side of the FWA, as is Jack Xavier, but this time I'm with the underdog. An avalanche splash of his own from Jack Xavier. Come on Jack! He goes for another, but Mr. Blonde misses. Xavier is dazed. Blonde whips him into the ropes. A huge, huge clothesline taking Jack Xavier down. The referee checking on him. He's not out yet, but he may soon well be. Scoop slam, a scoop sit-down slam from Mr. Blonde, and a cover. Jack Xavier full on the rope by instinct more than anything else, but Popeye Jackson saw it, and that's all that matters here. Wolfman in the crowd there speaking to his friend. He's a regular here every week. He's pointing out exactly what a fight Jack Xavier's putting up, but the flash in the pan surely signals that it's all over for a young, plucky contender. Mr. Blonde playing games with the rag doll of an opponent that he's in the ring with now. Jack Xavier is nothing but a bag of bones and flesh. He's out on his feet. Blonde pulling him up before even a 2 count. He wants to finish him his own way. But Xavier's up. Xavier has got a second win. Assisted spinebuster taking Mr. Blonde down. Jack Xavier's back on top. The security team can't be happy about that, let alone Mr. Blonde. I hate to think what's going through Mr. Blonde's mind at the moment. I'm sure it's not printable. Blonde makes it to his feet first, but he's soon followed by Jack Xavier. This is an incredible fight put up by the young contender. Let's not forget how much weight he's giving away. A rolling shoulder block into the corner as he whips Blonde out back into the other corner. He goes for another, but Blonde misses. That's the third time in this match, and now Blonde signals for the Iron Fist. He's nailed Jack Xavier with it. Technically illegal, but he's knocked him out. It's a 1-2-3. That move is always going to get a 3 count. I say move, all it is a hard fist to the jaw, but nobody in the game punches harder than Mr. Blonde. He once had the quickest punch in the UK. He was in the karate team in the Olympics. He was only a reserve, but it was down to his punching power, and that punching power he's exhibited here tonight. Jack Xavier is down. Jack Xavier is out for the count. Mr. Blonde has won. He's taught Jack Xavier a lesson, but what has he really achieved? He's just shown that he's a cheap thug. As Cammy comforts Jack Xavier in the only way she knows how, with a hug, I say, let's get ready for our TV main event. Jody Fleisch versus Dino Scarlo, and it's coming right up. FWA The Music Volume 1 is exclusively available at fwamusic.co.uk or by calling 0870 730 1500. Hear the music, watch the wrestling. Welcome back, and that music signals the arrival of Dino Scarlo, the governor, the Antichrist. He breezed into the FWA just weeks ago with a vulgar display of power. He's since made this his battleground. It's new school versus old school. It's tradition versus evolution. He wants to keep British wrestling back in the 80s, back in the 70s, back in the 60s. The glory days, as he calls them. It's Dino Scarlo, Drew McDonald, Robbie Brookside, and whoever they can find to join their campaign, join their crusade against the FWA and the new school. But tonight he may have bitten off more than he can chew, because he faces the Phoenix, Jody Fleisch. No man embodies new school more than Jody, and we'll see Dino versus Jody after the break. Versus Dino Scarlo, new school versus old school, high-flying versus technical, thugs, mass-based brawlery. This is going to be one for the ages, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And these fans here in attendance, their mouths are watering. They're salivating over the prospect of Jody Fleisch versus Dino Scarlo. This one has been weeks in the building. Jody Fleisch, some would say he's the beacon of the new school. He's what makes the FWA exciting. He's all over the place, and usually I'd say that in a bad way, but with Jody, it's the only way you can describe him. A couple of weeks ago, Jody teamed up with Paul Travell to form a super team to take on the New Breed, to fight them for the FWA tag team titles. And they may well have beaten them, they may well have won the titles, were it not for Dino Scarlo, who stuck his nose in business that he had no place being. He hit Jody with a cricket bat, re-injuring the arm that Jody had injured way back on this very TV show in a 6-man tag match in the summer of 2001. Now, Dino makes it his business to stick his nose into other people's business. Last week, he did that again. We introduced Nikita, the first signing to the women's division of the FWA. Dino, it seems, didn't like that, and he took it upon himself to hit Nikita with a chair, making her leave the arena bleeding. Alex Shane stopped further punishment for the woman wrestler, but it's Jody here tonight who's out to get some revenge for Nikita, some revenge for himself, and he's set out his stall well. He's taken Dino down with a head scissors. He's made his intentions clear. Dino Scarlo is in for a beating. Jody keeping that head scissors cranked on. Dino looking for any way out of it he can. This looks like a traditional reversal. But Jody turning him over. Dino foxing his way out, and there's a standoff. These two know each other so well. It's a little known fact in the world of wrestling, but Dino Scarlo actually trained Jody Fleisch. He was his first wrestling teacher. He took the nascent, the potential that was Jody Fleisch and honed it into some of what we see today. But Jody went beyond that training. Jody found himself. Jody developed his own style. He grew well apart from the old school teachings of Dino Scarlo, and I think that is what sticks in the craw of Dino Scarlo. I think that explains why Dino is so keen to take Jody down. Dino showing a few nice tricks, but they both miss elbow drops. Dino is surely unmatched on the mat in the FWA. I would give him that. He has years of experience to back up his technical wrestling ability, but Jody is no slouch either, and it wouldn't surprise me, knowing what I know of Jody Fleisch, if he tries to beat Dino at his own game here today. Dino with a wrist lock, Jody rolling and flipping out of it, turning in circles and putting a wrist lock of his own on Dino Scarlo, turning the arm wringer, putting the pressure on Dino's elbow. But let's not forget Jody's arm injury, that dislocated elbow which was rebroken in an out-of-ring incident. But he's come back, he says stronger than ever, but I'm sure Dino will be focusing on that elbow, and Dino turning cartwheels of his own, trying to get out of an arm wringer. But Jody is more than a match, and Jody, a twisting arm wringer, sends Dino flying over. Dino had to go with the move. He had to twist himself 360 degrees for his arm not to come out of his socket. Jody calling on the encouragement of the crowd here tonight. He doesn't need to. This crowd are firmly behind him. Dino earning himself a breather on the outside. He's an old man. I'm sure he'll need all the breathers he can get. It's back in the ring for what looks like round 2 of this match. It's not fought under round systems, but the way Dino's behaving, the way he was brought up in the old school teachings, it may as well be. Excellent reversal, a hammerlock into a wrist lock. He's got Jody at his mercy, cranking the pressure, but Jody comes back with a wrist lock of his own, a headlock and a hammerlock. Jody tying Dino up in knots, but Dino's got the moves of his own to counter them. This is a technical masterclass. We saw one last week with Justin Richards and Scott Parker, and I believe we're seeing another one now. Such is the high caliber of wrestling here in the FWA. And Jody Fleisch, an assisting springboard arm drag. Dino Scarlo didn't know what hit him. There's a face cutter from Dino Scarlo. That's one way to slow Jody Fleisch down. Drive his face into the mat. Dino throwing Jody to the outside, earning himself yet another breather. I guess this is the end of round 2. Come on, Jody, get in the ring. Round 3 could be the one where we see you get on top. Once again, Dino Scarlo knocking Jody Fleisch to the outside. Is he trying to win by count out? That'd be a very, very cheap win, Dino Scarlo.
Come on, Jody!
Jody's up, he's back on the apron. He's looking for Dino again. Dino's blocking his punches. A leg drop over the neck of Jody Fleisch over the top rope. Jody sent tumbling into the ring. His neck must be sore. His neck must be hurting. And Dino is loving it. In between gasping breaths, he's saying, "Who's your boy? Who's your boy?" There's a neck breaker. It's clear the boy to Dino Scarlo is Jody Fleisch, and he's the man, and he's proving it with a drop kick to the face, and yet another drop kick to the face. Jody Fleisch sent tumbling out the ring. Dino Scarlo is the king of that ring, earning himself another breather as Jody sprawls on the outside. The crowd chanting, "Where's your pension?" at Dino Scarlo, highlighting it the fact that he's an old man. What does he do? He steals a drink from them, taking from them in the crowd. He cares not for property, he cares not for anybody except himself and the other members of his old school faction, Drew McDonald and Robbie Brookside. Dino Dino cranking down on that arm. That is the arm that Jody dislocated so many months ago. It hasn't properly healed. Jody makes the ropes. Referee Popeye Jackson telling Dino to break. Dino has to break before the 5 or risk being disqualified. I'm sure that's not how he'd want to finish this. He wants to punish Jody. He wants to humiliate him, and he's going the right way about it by trying to tear that arm out of its socket. Dino has Jody up, and once again he goes to the arm, and a clothesline which sends Jody spinning through 365 degrees, coming down face first on the mat. Dino is on top, Jody is down. Dino Scarlo looks like he's going to walk away from this with the points in the bag. It looks like he's going to be the winner. Jody is down, Jody is out. Dino went for a breather in the corner, but Jody caught it. Our cameras couldn't catch up with it, such was the speed of the action. But Dino, looking for another breather, he is an old man after all, was caught by Jody Fleisch, and Dino getting sent into the corner. Dino is taking moves and giving moves that he hasn't even seen in 10 years. Dino Scarlo is being given a lesson in the new school, and it's a lesson being taught by Mr. Jody Fleisch, Professor of New School Wrestling. Dino trying to send Jody to the outside, but Jody comes back with a springboard attempt across the ring. Jody misses, he lands hard on his knee, and is sent sprawling to the outside. Is this in Dino Scarlo's plan to try and wear down Jody Fleisch with the minimum of impact to himself? Perhaps he was playing possum all that time. I wouldn't count it out. Dino Scarlo, let's not forget, is a man who came into the FWA under false pretenses. He came in saying he was going to save Victoria de Montfort from whoever was making prank phone calls, threatening phone calls to her. As it turns out, it may well have been Dino Scarlo behind those phone calls, because Victoria de Montfort is missing. We don't know where she is. He advised her to take a few days away while the heat was off. We haven't seen her since, and since that period, Dino Scarlo and the old school have run roughshod all over the FWA. It's chaos in the FWA. I'd say it's anarchy, but they took care of that too 2 weeks ago when they blindsided Doug Williams, our FWA champion. At the moment, the old school are on top. Our only saviours are Jody Fleisch and Alex Shane. Alex Shane, let's not forget, takes on Drew McDonald next week on this very TV show. It's our TV main event. But today, it's Jody Fleisch versus Dino Scarlo. It's Jody Fleisch trying to uphold the honour of the new school. Dino Scarlo even went so far as to bring in a member of the old school from the US, the king of the old school, he calls himself, Steve Corino, and set him on to Scott Parker. Parker overcame Corino. He was triumphant, surely it was only by DQ, but he still won that match. That stuck in the craw of Dino and Drew, and they had to take it to Scott Parker after the bell. Parker was only saved by Alex Shane. We'll find out next week just how tough Alex Shane is, as Jody Fleisch shows us his amazing acrobatic ability. Dino Scarlo is nothing to Jody Fleisch, and a drop kick to the back of the head sends Dino out of the ring. Amazing action. Oh, a mishap. Jody Fleisch attempting to hit Dino Scarlo with an even more threatening move, got caught up in the ropes, and Dino Scarlo is putting the chair to Jody Fleisch's leg. This is unfortunate. This shouldn't happen. Dino Scarlo, where's your respect for Jody as a fellow competitor? And there's Drew. Drew McDonald is here as well. Popeye Jackson, do something. Do something, Popeye. You're Jody's only hope. You're his only hope. And Drew McDonald's got the chair, and he too is hitting Jody's knee. Jody's knee may be destroyed. Popeye Jackson calls for the bell. It's a disqualification. Jody Fleisch has won, but at what cost?
By disqualification, Jody Fleisch!
The old school are trying to wreck Jody Fleisch's career. Popeye Jackson trying to free Jody Fleisch. This is awful, ladies and gentlemen. The new school are down. The old school seem on top. We had Dean A.S. last week trying to bring Justin Richards over to his side. We've got Dino and Drew on top. This is Mark Priest saying, I'm very worried for the FWA. Have a good week. Till next week.